Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Malachi Corliss channel. If you guys haven't seen, I actually lost 50 pounds in the past year, about a year and a half. In this video, I'm going to be talking about this guy that I found. Andy Wilkinson is his name. So he's 60 years old, but he supposedly looks like he's 30. So I'm going to go through this video, see what's true about some of the things that he says you should do to stay young looking, and I'm going to talk about some of the problems with the video.
Meet Andy Wilkinson, the 60-year-old grandfather who has a six-pack that would put Avengers star Chris Hemsworth to shame. Andy, who has 7 grandchildren, is often mistaken for a man in his 30s. If I'm on holiday with my...
Now, I'm not going to lie, this guy looks great. Like, it is pretty impressive, the six-pack that he has, especially if he's really 60 years old.
Six-pack out, I get approached by ladies in their 30s, and I've been mistaken for my daughter's partner rather than her father on occasion, which is embarrassing, he told a British newspaper.
I can totally relate with this, not because I've had this problem before. I usually get confused for being 16 years old, so that's its own thing. But when I was 16 years old, I would go out with my family, and my mom would actually get confused for being my wife because she looked pretty young, and I was the oldest sibling, and there were 6 other siblings out with us when we would go to like a museum or something like that. And I can't tell you how many times I was like, "Oh, sir, you and your wife?" Like, no, that's my mom.
When asked about the secret to his enviable body, Andy shares some insights and says, you can't buy a toned, strong body.
All right, first off, look at that. There's so many typos in this video, by the way. You can't buy a Tony strong body.
But overall, I follow 6 principles that help me stay healthy and fit after 60. Looking at Andy's athletic figure and smooth skin with minimal wrinkles, you might think that he never leaves the gym, takes some sort of steroids, and strictly follows a diet.
I love how he does bicep curls and then pulls his shirt up just to look at his abs. Like, that has nothing to do with your abs.
Andy says, looking at other athletes, I realize that protein shakes, bars, and supplements won't help you achieve the body of your dreams.
All right, so let me stop that there again. Protein bars, supplements, they don't just magically make things go away. I think this is a big misconception in the health industry, and I fell prey to this, which is why I like to talk about it and tell people that it's sort of wrong, but it's not completely wrong. Protein shakes, bars, supplements are marketed for people who want to get healthy, especially in January, and a lot of times, most of them are crap and actually don't give you the exact supplements you need to have a strong body. They're also supplements, which means they're a substitute for things that you should be having. So on a day, in my opinion, supplements are tools, right? So if you have a day where you just are out and about too much, you can't get home to cook yourself a home cooked meal, can't make some chicken or beef or protein, then yeah, having a protein shake on the go will match that. The problem is most protein shakes and bars are actually candy bars or just milkshakes like you would get at Steak and Shake because they're high, full of fat, not a lot of protein, and the percentage is completely off.
It's all about proper nutrition, controlling it, and reducing the amount of carbohydrates you consume as you get older.
Okay, we're already getting into the whole don't eat carbs. Carbs are bad. That's the key to being fit. So this keto, carnivore, stuff like that, don't eat carbs.
1. Keep calm. Stress ages you significantly. That's why I learned not to worry about anything. Living in the moment and not worrying about the future or dwelling on past events can be challenging. But it's a habit that can be cultivated with practice.
All right, so this is actually a pretty good tip. Not necessarily the key to getting six-pack, but something that when you're trying to exercise and work out and do things like that, it is important to not get super stressed because that is emotional wear and tear on you. Working out is a physical wear and tear on your body, but it also has an emotional cost to your psyche because it's a lot of work, right? You go to sleep, you're exhausted, you wake up, you don't want to do your workout. So avoiding stress is important because that helps you stay motivated with your workouts. Now, the problem that this video probably won't address is that it's not just that simple. You actually have to spend a lot of time figuring out what stresses you out, how to manage that stress.
I have a motto, everything will be fine. It helps me stay calm and get through any difficulties.
Again, yes, that actually is a really good, important thing to say is everything will be fine eventually, or it could be worse, right? Those two things probably are true. It doesn't always feel like that. It's impossible to avoid stressful situations. So you got to learn how to manage the stress and deal with them and have an optimistic look on life, but it won't magically just give you a six-pack, which I think is what this video is trying to say. All right, we got another typo here. TOW, towel.
A peaceful night. I think rest and sleep are huge factors that make me look so young.
That is probably true. Now, how much sleep should you be having? Well, probably 6 to 7 or 8 hours. It depends on who you are. My wife probably needs like 8 or 9. I only need about 7. So I shoot between 6.5 to 7.5 per night. That gets me about what I need. I track it pretty frequently, and I focused on having a deeper sleep during those 7 hours because that actually will help you. That's restorative sleep. The deeper your sleep can get, the more restorative it is. And that is really important for recovery when you're lifting or doing cardio or whatever you're doing. It is important to get sleep because it helps you recover and be ready for the next day. If you don't get enough sleep, yes, you will be stressed out, you will be fatigued, you won't be able to keep moving forward.
3. Healthy eating. Remember, a beautiful body is 75% diet and only 25% exercise.
Don't know where they got those
When
percentages.
I turned 30, I realized that I needed to make some changes to my eating habits in order to achieve the results I wanted. I came to the realization that there was no need to rely on supplements to have a great physique. The most important thing for me was to focus on healthy eating habits, controlling my portion sizes, and reducing my carbohydrate intake as I got older.
All right, so he was doing really good until he got to that last point. You're right. Supplements are not the magical formula to just make you lose a bunch of fat and look great. Now, they help. They might make you feel better, but they're a small percentage, 1 to 2% improvement, right? And that compounds over time. But the majority of it is the healthy eating, the portion controlling. Understanding how much and what you're eating is more important, actually, in my opinion, than just quote unquote healthy living, right? Healthy living is eating in a maintenance or deficit so that you're not getting fat. There are different ways to do that, and it's different per person because there are allergies and there are things that people just can't have. The last one though, carbs. Carbs are actually super important for energy. Now, I think the problem that this video and most of the internet that believes that you can't have carbs, the mistake they make is the general public believes that when they're saying that, they're referring to everything that's processed at a grocery store. And the reality is most of the things that they're referring to, like Doritos or chips or things like that, are actually really high in fat and carbs. And that is why those things, even though they have carbs in them, they're actually super calorically high per the amount of food that you're getting. So a bag of chips is like 7 to 9 grams of fat, which is a lot more calories than having popcorn, which is mostly carb and some protein. And you can eat a lot more popcorn because of that, as opposed to chips for the same amount of calories. All right, point 4 even goes deeper into this eating carbs crap.
Best. 4. Cutting down on carbs. The older you get, the less carbohydrates and food you need in general.
So if you look at that in there, he was just scooping out fries and a burger into the trash can. Now, fries have carbs in them. Burgers have carbs in them. It's mostly in the bun, but they're not strictly carbs. The reason those things are so unhealthy, quote unquote, is because they're high in fat. It's not even that fat is bad for you. It just is an easy way to get a lot of calories very quickly before you're full. That's why protein is such an advantage, because you're full a lot quicker than you can eat a large amount of calories. If you just eat the hamburger patties, you're going to get a lot more protein than if you eat the hamburger patties and the bun, right? Every single bite with the bun, with the cheese, with the sauces is a lot more calories than if you were just to take a bite of a steak or chicken breast. Fries are carbohydrates, but they're also fats. They're all in one, and they're fried in oil, which makes them even more fattening because they have a lot more calories.
I have learned to adjust my diet accordingly to meet my body's changing needs. These days, I find that a small serving of carbohydrates, like just a few tablespoons of rice or half a sweet potato, is all I need to fuel my body properly.
I'm sure this guy cheats a lot more than he lets on in this video, but carbs are not the enemy. High carb, high fat foods, all in one, burgers that have buns, food that's not filling, adds up quickly. Pizza, high carb, high fat, it's all right there. There's not a lot of protein in it. And yeah, those things are going to make you fat, especially if you overindulge on those things. But the reason it's easier to adhere to eating healthier is because the healthier the foods are, the simpler the foods are. Straight chicken, straight steak, straight vegetables, straight rice even. They're a lot less calories per bite that you're putting in your mouth, and they fill you up very quickly. And that's the key to eating in a calorie deficit or at maintenance. Now, in a future video, I'm going to talk about all of those things, but I think that's all I'm going to go through this video for. If you disagree with some of the opinions I had on this guy, be sure to put it in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. Carbs are not the enemy, but this guy is doing something right, especially with his other points of eating good portions, getting sleep, reducing stress. Those will help you stay healthy, stay looking great, even in your 60s. If you guys haven't seen, I actually lost 50 pounds in the past year, about year and a half, and I have a video that I previously did about that. So if you want to check that out, the link is in the description. Might pop up at the top here too. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.